Thanks for being here.
You're welcome. I'm like, whoa, we're already started.
Yeah. And we'll, go wherever. But, like, if you were to meet someone, like, right off the bat, they didn't know what you were doing, and they're like, she's pushing these, like, little vials, like, what do you do, Veronica? So how would you explain it to someone you've
My essential oils.
Never met.
Let's see. How would I explain it to someone? Well, I work with essential oils, and essential oils come from nature. They're the extract from plants, essentially. It's their life source. And I teach people about how they can implement it into their life in different ways so it can benefit their wellness. And it's a great alternative for lots of things.
Okay.
From more cleaner products in your home to mind wellness and even physical wellness.
Sure.
And I really focus on working with women because I'm helping them become more in tune with their bodies.
Okay.
Because over the centuries, there's been a huge disconnect between that and helping them become more in tune and using essentially nature to help them become more in tune and become advocates of their own health.
Yeah, just taking it back into their own hands and empowering.
Mm-hmm. Basically, I just empower people on the daily.
So why just women?
That's what I do. So funny because I always get this question. And it only comes from males. Nothing against you. I know you're just the interviewee. But I get a lot of defensive men asking me this. Why do you only focus in on men or women? And I'm like, well, you must not understand marketing if you want me to market to everyone.
I get that part.
And then two, I say because that's where I feel like I can really, help the most based off of my experience and my knowledge and just where my passions are. Mm. I'm very passionate about helping women become more in tune with their bodies because I see a huge issue in our healthcare system with the communication between women and their healthcare professionals. Oh. Day after day, I see women not being empowered enough or feeling confident enough to express what their body is going through, to actually be able to have the right diagnosis or the right advice from professional healthcare providers. And I want to close that communication gap. And so right now, really focusing on really helping empower women and becoming more in tune. And since I'm a huge advocate of a more natural, holistic approach, I love the use of essential oils as part of that.
So, and your path to essential oils, did it come from a negative experience with traditional medicine, or you stumbled your way into, natural remedies and you're like, this is actually working for me?
Yeah. Funny story. Well, it's none of those. It's not that funny. So, I grew up first generation Polish American.
Okay, great.
So, my parents were born and raised on farms in Poland. So, I'm the first generation that's really experienced more of a processed world, you can say.
Yeah.
And I grew up with crazy natural remedies. Like, I remember this really disgusting garlic milk drink that my mom used to make me drink when I had, the symptoms of a cold or a flu or something coming on.
Really?
And it was terrible, but my parents were never the first to be like, oh my gosh, we have to take her to a doctor. Oh my goodness, we have to take her to the emergency room. There always was some kind of remedy they tried first. And it wasn't until I was older that I really appreciated it.
Yeah.
Because then growing up in a culture where it was so easy to just get medicine at the store or go to the doctor and be prescribed something for every single symptom.
Yeah.
I just got that conditioning in me. And then once I was on my own in college, I had the health in my own hands. And it wasn't until college or grad school that I got introduced to essential oils when I was having a really hard time concentrating, focusing on my work. My mood was all over the place, and I just wanted a holistic way to kind of approach it instead of just jumping on like antidepressants or what is that one thing that people take to focus?
Adderall.
Or relying on something like that. Yeah. I was really hoping to find something different and really get to the root of the issue. So I got introduced to essential oils, and it kind of started there. I remember getting them. I kind of sort of used them. And then it wasn't until really after grad school when real life reality hit me that I really started to use them and think like, okay, let's see what these can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you started experimenting with as many of those oils as possible and just becoming kind of a master of them?
Yeah, you could say that in a sense. Yeah. Basically, my first thought, every time I kind of needed something, I was like, all right, what oil can I use? Let me try this first. And so that's like my approach is like, let me try essential oils or something natural and holistic first before I try to take more like a, I would say, aggressive or not natural approach to like my health. And so I remember, and this is when I started to learn about like the toxins that we're exposed to, and how they affect the hormones in our body and how they affect women and their cycle and their health, and your mood. It literally affects everything. So I started to become a person having more natural products in my home. So we'd run out of something, I'd start to create it with my oils.
So you're mixing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that opens up all more doors.
Okay, so yeah, so like for example, like you can literally clean your whole house with like vinegar and lemon essential oil or citrus essential oil. And it does all the stuff that the chemical filled stuff does without the toxins. And it cuts down on cost too. People think they're expensive, but they're
get a whole jug of gallons of vinegar.
They're like cents, pennies per drop, and you're only using a few drops at a time. My biggest aha moment was I always suffered with like sore throats in the winter season, and I started using Melaleuca, which a lot of people know as tea tree oil.
There you go.
I know, see, I always get that.
I was like, I know what that is.
People are like, Melaleuca, and I'm like, tea tree. So I started using tea tree essential oil, and I start rubbing it on my throat and kind of gargling with it and even taking a few drops internally when I start to feel a tickle. And the last like 4 years, I've not had a full-blown sore throat since then. And it's so crazy because before I would like suffer and I take whatever kind of things are recommended at this, Walgreens Vitamin or whatever, and it just wasn't doing it. But then like for it to kick it at a tickle, I was like, what? So I was like, let's see what they can really do. So yeah, I use them like in every part of my wellness.
Okay. Have you heard of any maybe side effects or negative reactions from essential oils?
Yeah. So that's a great question because really there isn't many. You can even, so I work with Doterra essential oils, and when you ask them, they have to disclose to you, right, what is the percentage of adverse events, and it's like less than 0.001 or something, and it's usually like a rash or like, if someone's sensitive. Sure. So essential oils are very potent. And so for example, like lemon, essential oil, 1 drop has like a ton of lemon rind in it. It's not just 1 lemon. So so they're very potent, and sometimes some people are like sensitive to it. So you want to like dilute it, but it's always recommended to just kind of try a little bit on your skin, and then if you have no reaction, you can use it. Most people don't do that, but I found that there's really no side effects, other than like the occasional, if ever, kind of like skin irritation. I mean, you're not going to go drink a whole bottle of something because you're overworking your liver.
With all these oils, you said you kind of gargled with it, or maybe you apply it topically. What are the other routes of? Sure.
So there's a few different ways you can use essential oils. One is topically, and you've probably already used them topically before, and like lotions, massage oils. Maybe you haven't used like a really good grade of essential oil, but it's been in there. Maybe it was considered like a fragrance or something, and it wasn't like from like a natural source. But so you can use them topically, and topically they absorb into your bloodstream like within like 22 seconds, I believe.
Wow.
And you can find them throughout your body like within 20 minutes. So they're really quick and effective.
How do you find it? What do you mean find it in your body?
Like you can...
You doing blood draws,
Yeah.
Veronica?
Yeah. Well, or like where it affects your whole body, I guess.
Okay, where
I
you start
could
to
say.
feel the effects. Okay.
Within like 20 minutes.
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
Throughout your whole body because, well, it goes through your, bloodstream. So.
Okay. Wow, that's fast.
Yeah.
For being topical.
Yeah. So topical, you can take them... you can inhale them, so you see it's really popular now to have like a diffuser.
Right.
So that is best form to use if for any kind of like mental health, or if you're feeling off, you want a little respiratory,
right, yeah.
You want a little energy boost. So you can put them somehow inhale them. So you can even put them on your hands and take a cup your.
Is that the
face.
magic behind oxygen bars?
Where
people hook you up with like nasal cannulas and they're like,
yeah.
Flavors
When I think of that, I think of Vegas. Wakes you up. Maybe, yeah. I'd be curious to see. I mean,
new business idea.
too many business ideas. So, and then you can also use them internally. So this is a way that a lot of people are kind of turned off because they're like, oh, what am I putting inside myself? Which is so crazy because your skin is your biggest organ,
right?
And you're okay with applying, but topically. So, and we already put so many things that we don't understand into our bodies. Like, if you were to ask the average person walking on the street to kind of explain to you what the ingredients are on the back of just some random processed product in the store, they wouldn't be able to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like something we're educated on, but something that is important, right?
So do you think maybe high school or college should have done a better, maybe definitely high school, do a better job of really helping students understand like how to take control of their health, and that starts with like what you put in your body kind of
I
thing?
think that would have been amazing, and I hope that we get there someday. It'd be so amazing if throughout your school years, that throughout elementary and high school, that you were taught how to take care of your body, how to understand what you're putting in and on it, right? Or even what environment you're putting it in, how to have coping skills, like all of that. That would have been fabulous. I think like those life skills, that we a lot of times don't learn until life hits us.
Until you got to find a way for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, yeah, you can take them internally, and you can take them just a few drops in, like, your water. Oh. For example, like, citrus oil is really great cleanser. So, a lot of people will drink it in their water throughout the day to kind of help your body detoxify.
Okay.
And then you can also take them in, like, kind of like pill form, like capsules.
Sure.
And I make, like, little capsules all the time if, like, I need it for a certain reason, and just take it. Most oils you can take internally. It'll say on the bottle if you can't. I mean, there's certain ones you can't, just like there's certain mushrooms you shouldn't eat. And then you also want to be taking really high quality essential oil. You want to understand where it's coming from, that there's no like contaminants, nothing added, nothing changed, that it's not around pollutant, all the whole spectrum, right? Mm-hmm. So I love Doterra essential oils because of their integrity, and because of, I consider them more a science company than I do network marketing or product company.
Right. So I've and you see it on the shelves of stores and things like that.
I love.
And you've mentioned it a couple times already, but is it multi-level marketing, or how does that work? So how is Doterra in relation to you? Like, how is it related to you?
Yeah. So Doterra, I use in my business as a product that I sell to my customers, but I'm not a warehouse. Like, I help them, like, guide them and teach them and empower them and bring them to the resources so they can feel educated and know how to use them, and they sign up for like a membership, which then they can get discounts and purchase their oils on their own, which then I get like a kickback on. And my role is as an educator. So something with essential oils, there's a learning curve because it's not like something we're used to, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest reasons I tell people, I'm like, don't buy it in the store, purchase it through someone, through doTERRA, and you get the education, you get the support, Sometimes we buy it at the store, we're like, oh, this is the fad, and then we kind of don't use it because we don't know what to do with it.
Sure.
Or we misuse it, and like we don't get the effects that we were looking for, and then we're like, oh, this doesn't work, But it's because we weren't guided how to use it properly or how to use it for our own bodies.
Yeah.
So that's the whole idea behind it, because doTERRA could have chose to just market on their own, just any other product.
Yeah.
They could have chose to have it on store shelves if they wanted to, but they chose to do it through that model because they knew they needed the educators.
Okay.
And then on top of that, they're helping folks really get out of financial struggles, create their own businesses.
Are you only getting the kickback, or is it kind of like a salary? Like doTERRA's paying you to educate before getting that kickback?
Oh, yeah.
Somewhat.
So, no. So it's not a salary. It's all like commissions based.
Okay.
And there's different ways that you get paid out.
But you never had to buy a bulk of oils.
Nope.
Where that's the turnoff for
other
MLM.
For sure. So I've never ever had to stock oils or anything. Okay. The only thing in order to get a commissions check is you have to purchase each month. So if you're not purchasing your product each month and using it in your own life, you should probably not be representing it.
That makes sense.
So, and this is product that I use on my own, for myself. So I never feel like I'm purchasing so that I can get a commissions check.
So, but you don't feel used, or you don't feel like, oh, there's just this one person at the top of the pyramid that's just like, cha-ching.
No, actually I don't. And the reason is because a lot of people have a misconception of what network marketing is. And a lot of that happened in the 90s when there was all these different opportunity scams, I call them, where they're like, you're going to make $1 million, just do this, buy this, blah, blah, blah. And that's really kind of what put a turnoff on what was supposed to be, what is actually a really good model. And more companies are going in that direction of putting their product out there in that way. Mm-hmm. There is a website company that uses that model, and their website platform is amazing, and you can get a kickback. So think about it as a business person too. If you represent your product, you can get a discount code sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. Or represent a product, you can get a discount code, and then you get a kickback. Yeah. So think of this in a more structured way. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's not a pyramid a scheme, because the person who signed you up, if they just signed you up and they don't really do anything, they're gonna not make more money.
So there's no chain of people on top of you? It's just one the owner of doTERRA is the only person on top of you? Or?
No, I mean there's a few people that signed up first, right?
Okay.
But they if they could have signed up first but never really built their business, and they'll never get paid out, so it's about, you can be anywhere in the business and still end up making more money
than someone on top,
than someone else. Yeah,
you,
exactly. It's not they got in before me kind of thing. Yeah.
Everyone has an equal opportunity.
Yeah, you really do have an equal opportunity. Is putting in the work, figuring out your audience, and really being able to bring the benefits of the product to a population that you can really truly speak to, and grow your business from there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So with that being said, do you feel like the market for essential oils is oversaturated?
Especially
how easy it is with the online social media platforms to just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And become an educator.
Yeah. I don't think so. And the reason is because a lot of people, so when people first started, at the beginning and selling essential oils, right, it was new. No one really knew about it. They thought it was crazy, witchcraft. And so they can speak to anyone, right? And probably every 10 people or something, they were able to sign up and convince them, like, these are great benefits. Now, it's more, I believe, that, yeah, it is more known. Like, it isn't just a fad. There's actually, like, more research being done. There's, like, healthcare facilities being created. Doterra has a whole new initiative where they're creating healthcare clinics staffed with different professionals. And one of the main things that they're going to be prescribing is essential oils as an alternative and or complementary part of someone's healthcare plan. So there's notice now that, like, this does something. This is a great potential, like, future alternative for maybe even our antibiotic crisis. You know, like, oregano is already used in chicken feed as an antibiotic.
I did not know that.
Yeah, like, we're getting there where we're going to need alternatives, right? We're going to need different ways to support our bodies. And this is, so it is well known. But here's the issue. Not everyone, people might know about it, but they might not use them yet. People might know about them, but they might purchase from the store oils that aren't high quality. People might know about them, but maybe their healthcare professionals aren't recommending them yet. So they're kind of like, they haven't really dived into it yet. So I do see this. Right now I feel like it's going to be a whole second wave.
Oh.
So it's definitely not saturated. When I look at, like, the map, I think about the amount of people out in the world, there's still so many people that still need these.
I love that.
And as an entrepreneur now working in the model, when I look at it, you know, maybe I can't put out that generic information out there because
anyone can Google
because the internet's so huge.
Right.
I'll just get lost. But so it's on me to, like, really find my niche, understand my customer. Instead of marketing to everybody, I market to this group of people that I know I can really support.
I love that.
Yeah, so it works both ways, yeah.
I love that. We kind of touched upon this earlier, but did you know you always wanted to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I always knew I wanted to have a business eventually. I grew up in a very entrepreneurial family.
You said on the farm?
Or entrepreneurial family.
I know.
But no, not on the farm.
No, but okay.
I didn't grow up on a farm.
Oh, okay.
My parents did, though.
Okay.
I grew up here in the city of Chicago.
Gotcha. But the business people?
Yeah, so my dad, he has his own construction business.
Oh, there you go.
And depending on the seasons of that field, he's sometimes contracted out to other people, sometimes he's done it with his own business, but he's very entrepreneurial and strategic and intelligent in that sense. My mom too is very entrepreneurial in all of her different things that she's tried. Like she's worked in different fields. She's worked as labor at a factory. She's worked in cleaning houses. She has her own houses she cleans. She also has worked as a caregiver. So she's always, like, kind of figuring out where kind of she's needed. And my brother too is very entrepreneurial.
Wow,
he has a huge skill set in fixing things, and there's a better word there, vocational.
Sure.
And vocational, and
woodworking or electrician or
so he's kind of dipped his toes into a few different areas. He's worked in construction, so building basically almost anything.
Yeah.
He's worked in heating and cooling. He's worked in plumbing. So, like, and then he's kind of done his own thing too.
Okay.
Yeah, like right now he's just taking on his own clients.
So going into college,
yeah,
why didn't you do, like, business or marketing or finance or accounting?
So I guess because
and what did you do?
Yeah, so going into college, I didn't really have any guidance aside from my own, like, intuition and whatever my guidance counselor kind of told me, which really wasn't too much around, like, what kind of degree to go into. I grew up being told, like, go to college, finish college, you'll be comfortable in life, kind of thing.
That was the case back in the day.
Yes. So, but it's different. You know, my parents, they were born and raised in Poland. They came here for a better opportunity. They thought pushing me in that direction was going to be the right choice.
Yeah.
So I kind of winged everything. I started at UIC as an art and architecture student for barely a semester. That's how I got in, was through art and architecture. And because I have a huge creative side to me, but I never saw myself as like a full-time artist, just a passion, like something that kind of sprinkled into everything else in my life.
Okay.
So then I kind of looked into the sciences. I realized me and chemistry had no chemistry. Thank you. Like, no one laughs at that
joke. It's good. I've never heard that before.
Good, yay. Maybe I'll have to...
Great dad jokes.
That's like my best dad joke.
No, that's
only
awesome.
what I have. Okay. Then I volunteered at Children Lurie, thinking like, I was thinking about maybe become a doctor, maybe a nurse. I don't know. I wanted to help people. Like I always had a drive. Like I always laughed and told people, I'm like, if someone could just pay me like a comfortable salary to just volunteer my whole life, I'd do that. Like, but not reality. Getting there. No, kidding. But I realized that I really loved prevention.
Okay.
And loved helping people prevent from being ill, stay healthy, have longevity, and I found that field was public health.
Sure, yeah.
And then I finished my undergrad in applied psychology and jumped into my master's program in public health right after. And
with a specific focus in what?
Yeah, I focused in community health sciences.
Okay.
Yeah, so there really wasn't a time until grad school that I was like, maybe I should take some business courses. I always knew that at some point I might need to like learn something about business. But I've always been this kind of person that kind of like hasn't really reached out for too much support. I'm kind of like, I can figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of just how I grew up. You just kind of figure it out. So I never really thought like, I should probably be really strategic for me to take these courses to kind of figure it out. But I did end up taking a marketing course and an organizational behavior course in grad school.
Oh, that was fun. I like that one.
So that was really fun. Yeah. And then I wasn't really thinking about my business or a business. I thought eventually. And then I finished up grad school. I kind of struggled to kind of find my space in public health because where I really wanted to go, it just wasn't a very large field. Working in like the food system, which is where I love to support in public health. Kind of fell into pharmaceuticals, complete opposite of what I do with essential oils.
Yeah.
And I tried to like find my home there, and it just kind of hasn't happened. And then I started pursuing my business. It was about 3 years ago that I started pursuing my business. 3?
Wow, 3 years?
Yeah, like 3.
And you just became an LLC.
Maybe 3.5. Yeah, I just became an LLC. Thank you. It was a huge move because I knew once I was going to do it that it was going to be serious. I knew that I was going to do it. I'm like, oh my God, like this is what's going to keep me accountable. So funny that like a piece of paper is what's going to keep me accountable.
Yeah, when it came in the mail.
But I'm like, this is so real. Like, this is real. So mine hasn't even come yet. It's because the government shut down. Okay, maybe. So I'll get it eventually. I have some PDF or something. But I didn't because I spend a lot of time exploring, which I think is essential when you're an entrepreneur. Yeah. Because you want to do something that you're passionate about. You want something that also has some kind of longevity to it, right? Like you want it to... And then I was kind of trying to figure out where I fit in because I loved wellness. I started kind of teaching yoga. I thought about, well, maybe I can create something out of this into a business. And I kind of did some health coaching and realized that, like, I enjoyed it, but not every aspect of it. And then I kind of saw where essential oils can kind of fit into things. And over this, like, really last year, I realized I was really passionate about women's health. And
what set that off?
Personal experiences, really, like struggling with the healthcare system, getting a lot of like crazy looks when I'd like go to doctors and think like, all they ever tell me is the generic stuff, like, oh, just eat healthy and exercise. Oh, like, you feel depressed, let's put you, like, on this pill. I really wasn't getting the answers that I really was looking for.
Okay.
Like, I was someone who was really doing the research, and I wanted answers, and I wanted practitioners to really work with me on seeing all my options and diving deep into where things stemmed from, not like, oh, this is the symptoms you're having, this is kind of how we can fix it. And I just wasn't happy with it.
Yeah, it feels cold and
yeah. So I kind of took things into my own hands and started experimenting in a sense and trying different protocols. And one big thing was trying like the elimination diet, realizing I had a lot of sensitivities that no one ever thought about, like, oh, let's kind of test her out for this. And I figured that out, and it's just kind of like figuring things out one after the other.
Okay.
And realizing that kind of our normal, regular healthcare system just really wasn't helping me. So I opted out of it, and I decided to go in a more natural route. At one point, I decided, okay, I've done all the research I can. I kind of know all the things I can do, and I've been trying it, but I need someone to kind of like create a strategy around this, you know?
Yeah.
So I went to a naturopathic doctor, ended up finding out that I have a leaky gut, and SIBO, which is, I always say this wrong. I always say small intestine bowel obstruction, which it's not.
But it's SIBO?
It's a small intestine bacterial overgrowth.
There you go. That's funny.
How? Like how? I don't even...
I think you'd have different symptoms if there was a bowel obstruction.
Probably. That'd be a lot more serious, probably. So I ended up figuring those things out. If I had been going to like just a generic doctor, and if they ever were able to figure that out or get to that path, they probably would have put me on antibiotics, and it would have kept reoccurring. Based off my research, and so I went on a really strict autoimmune protocol and used antimicrobial botanicals to help support it, and I was able to start healing from it. So I'm still like kind of in the process of healing from it, but I would have never have gotten that far. And it's so funny because I self-diagnosed myself. I knew exactly what I had. I was on the road to Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism, autoimmune diseases, and regular doctors, conventional doctors, they weren't catching that because everything looked normal. But everything's in range. But it wasn't optimal, you know? And when I went to a natural doctor, based off of me being very into with my body, being really good at writing down like symptoms, understanding kind of like where they were stemming from, trying different things, and then seeing a naturopathic doctor who actually, first person who actually did like all the tests on me without me having to like ask, like, oh, should we do this?
They asked the right questions. And
they spent like 2 hours asking me questions, writing down my whole history. That's like more time than like all those other doctors combined ever like spent with me. And we were really able to get to like the root of the problem. I thought over here, I'm like, I for sure have like hypothyroidism. I'm like, I for sure have it. And they were like, no, you actually have right now a leaky gut. And then we figured out after that I have SIBO. And they're like, you know, it can lead into that. But if we heal this, we'll be able to prevent that, you know? Wow. So it's so crazy. So me having that struggle with the healthcare system, me as a woman really not feeling heard for my healthcare professionals, I didn't like that, you know? And the more I researched it, the more forums I joined, I started to realize this was an issue across the board, especially for women. And so I just really started to become an advocate around it. And I empowered myself, and I really want to empower other women. And ideally, like over time, I would really love to close that communication gap between women and healthcare professionals, because I believe women really do want to understand their bodies more and advocate for their health, but because of years and years of conditioning,
just culture norms,
not having the right tools and resources, not having the right knowledge, they don't feel empowered to do it. And I believe healthcare professionals truly want to help their patients, but two, I don't feel like they always have the knowledge. Sometimes I felt like I was more knowledgeable in something than my healthcare professional, and they don't always have the right communication or understanding of their patients, I feel like.
Yeah.
Where like a lot of these people were labeled for so long as was it hypochondriacs, where like nothing's really wrong with you, it's in your head, you know.
Oh, okay.
Like, or you know, you're fine, like. So I really want to close that communication gap, and I don't know what that looks like, but I know that it needs to be done, and that's like really where I want to serve the world, is helping close that gap.
It's tough because, you know, in traditional medicine they need to hit a certain quota, right? Like these healthcare professionals have probably more than a handful of patients that they have to see at the same time, so they don't have the time to see everyone or put in the time, like 2 hours per patient kind of thing. So, you know, just from the get-go, it's like traditional medicine is screwed that way.
It is so screwed. And, you know, in the healthcare professionals that are brave enough to venture on their own and have their own practices and expand their focuses and their knowledge, you know, they then, you know, people have to pay out of pocket. That's what I've been doing, is paying out of pocket. The problem is, it's screwed because our system doesn't support the healthcare professionals.
But do you think one day insurance will be accepted, or will alternative medicine will be accepted by insurance?
Well, look at it this way. 10 years ago, chiropractic was not accepted.
It was just recently accepted, huh?
And now, like, a lot of insurances do cover it.
Okay.
You know, or even think about occupational therapy. That wasn't accepted for a while either. Think about even, like, mental health services. Think, like, 30 years back. You think that was covered by insurance?
Yeah,
like,
and when that opens up, I'm sure many doors will open and more patients will seek out, you know, naturopathic doctors and alternative medicine.
And, you know, now a lot of naturopathic doctors work in accordance with other healthcare professionals in order to get some sort of coverage. So then it's like complementary medicine, and other ones just work on their own and you pay out of pocket. What I'm seeing a lot more now, though, is a lot of healthcare practices that kind of have a little bit of every kind of area of focus. For example, they'll have like a counselor, and they'll have like a therapist, some kind of therapist, and a regular doctor, and naturopathic, you know, like the diverse practice. And then people will pay a membership. So there's a membership model now, too, that is becoming pretty big, where people are willing to spend money outside of their insurance to pay a membership to a practice where they really feel taken care of, you know, and it's becoming a thing that's not just for people who are rich. Yeah, in a sense, there's a few in the city, and then the suburbs around here. Actually, Doterra is rolling out a bigger version of that.
Oh, okay.
They're creating healthcare clinics throughout the country where it has that model. You'll pay whatever monthly, and you'll have, you know, all your visits covered. You'll have all these things, different things covered, and you'll be able to attend them, and it'll be more diverse, like what you'll receive.
That's cool.
From them. Yeah.
I've never heard of that model and how they're trying to roll out, or like make their own way.
Yeah.
Trying to make it accessible to the public.
I mean, in the long run...
Can't wait for insurance.
Yeah, well, like, in the long run, too, well, I mean, at this point, you know, it's good to still at least have some kind of emergency insurance, right? Or something, right? Because we don't know what can happen. Like, you can break your leg. I can't rub essential oils on that. But, you know, maybe for the pain, but I can't put it back together, you know? Like, there's different things like that, and catastrophes. But think about this. So I don't know where I read this or heard this recently, but, it was like, for example, like taxis. Or no, let's talk about Blockbuster. Blockbuster did not get pushed out because Netflix came into the picture.
No, they didn't adapt.
Yeah, Blockbuster got pushed out because no one wanted to pay their fees and they didn't adapt. So it's going to be the same thing with our healthcare system. If our current system isn't going to adapt to what people want, someone else is going to get up and create what people want, and they're going to be out. You know, I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but it's definitely going to happen in our lifetime.
Wow.
I can totally see it happen in the next, like, 2 decades.
Wow.
And so that's literally what's going to happen.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. Because, yeah, I've heard that before. I've read that before about Blockbuster.
Yeah.
They didn't adapt. So, going back to you, do you think there's anything more to school for you? Or would you want to become a naturopathic doctor? Or do you think you're kind of doing what you're doing now? Or, like, you're fulfilled doing what you're doing now?
I think that I love learning. I think I will be a lifetime learner. I don't know if I'll ever, like, pursue a degree for, like, maybe, like, the credentials behind my name.
Right.
Maybe once upon a time I would have. But I know that I still want to get more education. Like, I've totally considered, like, doing coursework in naturopathy or coursework in some kind of medical or more coursework in marketing. I mean, earlier this year, or last year now, I completed an online program in business and marketing. That's how I was able to really hone in on my skill set of what I was doing in my business and start supporting other businesses. So, yeah, I totally see myself, like, continuing to get education.
Yeah.
Just gonna be, like, about timing and
or
financially,
just putting yourself
ability.
out there and just going to those networking events and just mind jamming with like-minded individuals that are doing their own thing.
And think about how many things you can learn on your own too.
No, you're right.
Like,
you're right.
I could probably order all the books that someone would teach me, in a class, and if I read them and really commit myself to it and find the mentorship I need in order to really grasp the ideas, I could probably do it on my own. So, but yeah, it's so silly. I have a whole list of, like, things I still want to learn in my lifetime. There's languages. This year I want to learn how to speed read because there's Kindle's packed with books that are never finished. Like,
Jim Quick is a good speed reader.
Really? I'm gonna have to follow. I don't know. I haven't, like, done my research where to even look for the answer. I just know I want to do it. Like, I want to finish learning Italian and Spanish and maybe another language. Like, there's so much I want to do. I would love to, like, really, I love physiology. I love understanding how the body works. I'd love to dive deeper into that. Like, so.
Good for you.
We'll see.
And if you could do it all over again, would you? Is there anything you'd change or tweak or? Because you technically don't need a degree to do what you're doing now. Right?
I know. Yeah, I don't. Would I do something different? Probably. But, everything I did, like, kind of led me to where I am, right? There was a reason, everything. But I wish I had...
But if, like, say, not to your younger self, but to someone that wanted to, follow your path.
Yeah, so someone who wanted to follow my path, I think they decided they wanted to do a university degree. I would say get all of the experiences you can, and what you major in doesn't matter at the end of the day, I feel like, but it's really about networking and searching out for the answers yourself, So instead of, like, don't close yourself down to just reading books in your dorm and getting your straight A's, like, really put yourself out there, really meet new people, get to and network more. I wish I had networked more in undergrad. I mean, I networked with my peer group,
right.
But I feel like I could have networked more with professionals at the time, and I just didn't even know how that looked like or what I should have been doing. And I wish I had more guidance in that at that time, because now I'm, like, older. I'm like, oh, okay, I should be networking, like,
Yeah.
So I guess that would be my advice and what I change.
Do you think
more networking earlier?
You don't necessarily need to go to university for that.
Yeah, what I'm doing, I guess I don't necessarily have to go to university.
Right. Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of things I've learned from university that I use day to day, but those were also things that I could have learned on my own too.
Okay.
My hard skill set, most of my hard skill set is things I've learned on my own. Okay. So, yeah.
Wow. So if you can kind of narrow it to the one big thing, are you familiar with the 80-20 rule? The Pareto principle. So if you can, like, just think of your business and your, how it's going right now, where did you ever see a flip in, like, the success of the business, like, because of one big thing that you kind of added or flipped up or switched that like things kind of like changed the world for you?
Yeah.
Like or that the point
like
where
in success wise, like actually
the point where you finally thought this can be it for me.
Yeah.
Like, this is my thing now, right?
Okay, kind of
what did you do to get to that point?
Yeah, I think finding clarity. Once I was clear on what I wanted to do and my message, and I was excited to talk to the people that I was potentially helping, not just about like, oh, I got to talk to all these people. That's when I knew. That's when I knew that, and I knew when there was a problem that I knew I could solve that wasn't being solved. You know, I'm like, there's a need for this. Once I saw that need, and I got really excited about like helping the people with this need, that's where I saw the potential. That was like, this is it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's crazy because it really wasn't until this last year that I really, really defined my business. Before that, it was, I could say I was more like a lifestyle.
Right?
And it's so crazy. So I actually did this last year. I wrote down kind of like, how did I get where I got, you know? And it's, you know, all my like experiences and stuff. And a lot of people fall into kind of what we're doing through either, I feel like, one of two paths. It's either like fitness or like healthy eating, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of starts there because you're like, ooh, wellness. And then you kind of start evolving. You're like, ooh, personal development, spirituality, and ooh, lifestyle. And then you're like, okay.
But you still have to tweak it and dial it in.
And then you keep dialing it in.
To the population that you could specifically
serve.
serve.
And then you figure out like, okay, what can I really solve here? What really inspires me? And you dial down into
what's
that.
What's personal to you?
What's really personal to you? I mean, a lot of businesses start from that person who started having an issue with something.
Right.
Like, that's how Mariano's was created. Like, Mariano's was created after, like, someone, I'm pretty sure, I might be mistaken, someone worked at Dominic's and didn't like something.
I've never heard this.
And they created Mariano's, and they were like, I'm going to take down Dominic's.
That's hilarious.
Don't quote me, but I've heard that multiple times. And, you know, maybe it wasn't those two stories, but, like, you know, this happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever think, or do you have a clear picture of where you want the business to go? Like, do you ever think that you're going to make your own, like, do you currently sell like individual doTERRA vials, right? Like, do you ever think like you're gonna slap your name on it, move away from doTERRA and be like Veronica's oils or like whatever, you know, and like maybe like make your own combination of oils or maybe just like move to like ointments and creams and things like that? Do you ever think like you want to eventually really personalize the brand and like move away from the model that you are in right now?
No. And the reason is because doTERRA is doing what they're doing so well. I don't even want to create something different. Like, they are doing it so well that I'm like, well, I wouldn't even try, you know? Like, it's always going to be part of my business model, their products, and helping people with them and growing my team. But, like, what... And maybe my brand will evolve in other ways, you know? Maybe I'll have mugs or something with it. I don't know. But, like, I see my brand as, like, being more of a service in the long run rather than, like, a product. I have a product that complements the service.
Okay.
But, yeah, I don't know. And it's funny because there's never been a time in my entrepreneurial journey that I've ever thought like, ooh, I'm like really into like you know, you sell a product. I've never been like really inspired by a product. I've always been inspired by like a service,
right?
You know,
okay.
Serving the world in a certain way and making that profitable. And also
I wrestle with that idea all the time.
Yeah.
Mostly because someone straight up told me like you can put any design on a shirt and sell it, and people do that, right? So anything that's trending, you know, like when, let's say Rick and Morty was trending. You can just slap Rick and Morty stuff on t-shirts and make an ad on Facebook and sell it. It'll go hot, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to create is a movement or a brand that people resonate with, and then that's when people buy not just a shirt, but like the message behind the shirt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and so many great brands these days too. It's the message, it's what it means.
Yeah.
Like from the food we eat to the clothes we wear to the experiences we have in life and the places we stay and see. Like, I think more and more we're questioning like what are the values that I'm supporting.
Yeah. And I think people want to be part of something bigger than themselves.
Yes.
And so I think, do you have a forum or like an online space, maybe a Facebook group that people can share their personal experiences and kind of help each other?
Yeah, so I have a Facebook group called Getting Down with Her Roots, which is also the name of my podcast.
Okay.
And that is a forum where people can really share their experiences, look for guidance, really feel supported, and being able to explore their wellness on every level. And I always say, like, mind, your body, the environment around you. And that can go in so many directions, right?
Yeah.
But, that's where kind of I use right now, and kind of where I see is, like, where a lot of people are gravitating to. The Facebook groups are literally, like, the new forums.
I know. It's easy to set up, and almost everyone's on Facebook, so it's pretty easy.
Yeah, well, a lot of people will literally get a Facebook just to be in a Facebook group.
Go.
Yeah, but that's where I use right now. But then, like, I do a lot, like, on Instagram and on my website, which from all the great business people, they say to send people to your website rather than, like, social media, because social media can go goodbye tomorrow and your website's your own, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm sure eventually, like, at least within the program I create a program, there's a forum in there for, like, whoever is part of the program. So
do you have any lofty or maybe not lofty, but like clear concrete goals that you're trying to set for 2019 for the business?
Yeah, for 2019 I really want to do a few workshops around women's health all over the US. So I want to start traveling. And
I love this.
Yeah,
awesome.
So that's what I want to do. I want to do a few workshops throughout the U.S. I'm right now in the planning stages of a few workshops here locally. I really want to do it across the U.S. and eventually internationally next year.
Wow.
Which is a year from now.
And there's like a demand for it right now?
Yeah. There's a huge demand for women's health workshops.
Would that be through Doterra or through you?
It would be through me. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm being supported through my business through, like, the commission structure at Doterra and through, I guess my now side hustle.
Yeah, your side hustle.
My marketing that I do.
Hustle.
Yeah, so it was always, and I always knew when I was going to be entrepreneurial that it was so that I can go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I knew that I wanted my office to be able to move with me.
Sure.
So yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to go international. Actually, a big goal of mine this year is whenever I'm looking for, like, say, a book to read or buy or, like, a program to do, or some way to learn something or collaborate with, I'm actually looking more internationally now. Because there's so much great knowledge out in the world, and for such a long time I was so secluded to just the U.S. And I mean, there's tons of great people and tons of great information in the U.S., but I want to diversify.
Yeah.
So that's, like, my little way of starting to diversify is, like, for example, like, I did an Instagram marketing program at the end of last year, and I was choosing between two different Instagrammers I have followed for a long time, both of them very credible, like, their programs both looked great, and I chose a girl from the UK specifically because I knew that I wanted to diversify, like, what I was exposed to, you know, culturally, and so I was part of a group of, like, tons of people from Europe doing this program.
That's amazing.
And if I had done the American one, I mean, I would have more people in the U.S., but I'm like, I have easier access to these people than I do out there, you know?
It's true. It's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
So the goal is to travel.
Goal is to travel in the next few years.
Coach. And maybe a big step, if I were to guess, is to foster a community.
Yeah, so that's actually my expanders that I'm looking to like collaborate with recently and learn from is community builders. Because, that's not something I have some experience in, but I really want to hone in on those skills and build a community, worldwide community of women and empowered women. And then also after that, take a step into the healthcare professional world. And I'm looking for ways to already do that now so that I could start closing that gap.
So are you primarily using social media, LinkedIn? What are you trying to do to reach out and create this community of like healthcare professionals as well as people that might need these services? Yeah,
so people who need the services right now, I'm sticking to Instagram mostly.
Okay. And on Instagram, what are you specifically doing?
Yeah, so on Instagram, what I'm doing right now is, well, first I had to understand how Instagram worked. So that's why I took the course, because I knew like, oh, you post, you do this and that. But I was like, how do you do it so people like see you? And how do you do it so I can really bring value? And it's not just like being hidden behind an algorithm.
Right.
So
it's always changing.
Yeah. So I've given up on the algorithm. Now I just follow key steps. I'm like, okay, this is what I have to keep doing. So because I think I have like, I don't know, over 700 followers right now. And for me, I'm like, oh my God, it's only 700. But I'm like, Veronica, if you filled a room with 700 people, you'd probably be like, holy shit, I can help 700 people.
Well, you ever read the article by Kevin Kelly, 1,000 True Followers or 1,000 True Fans?
No.
Realistically, you need if you had 1,000 true fans that'll come back, return customers, like repeat customers that'll come back and buy whatever service or product you're pushing out. That's all you need, right?
Yeah. When you think about it, at the end of the day.
And then flipping it to Instagram, only 10%, and don't let this scare you, but only 10% of your fan base or followers really see your stuff.
Yeah, engage you. Well, I know very much the analytics side of things because that's where I've been trying to figure out, like, the growth, and that I've been using the numbers to figure it out. So I post a few times a week, very strategically.
Yeah.
And and then I also do Insta stories, which is a great place for your followers to get to know you. You know, like, I find the feed as a way to really bring value to the mission I'm trying and what I'm trying to help with. And I use the Insta stories really for that day-to-day interaction, that like, no, trust factor.
Never heard of that. What is that?
Like, no, trust. So to have a customer, a dedicated customer for life, they need to like you, know you, and trust you.
Ah, well, okay. Thanks for that. That makes sense.
I'm like self-accepting. No, when you say it really fast like that.
Okay.
But, so the like, no, trust factor. I'm not trying to coerce people to like me,
but that's the thing. It's like I was never the salesy, pushy type of person. But when people resonate with what you're about, they're more than happy. Yeah. Or especially after so many times you've been like providing so much value, the one time you're like, hey, I have this service. I think people are more than happy to
so it's amazing, and it's really like an energetic exchange, really.
Yeah.
And I've been using that. I have a strategy for the rest of this year. I'm starting to roll out. The first couple of weeks of the year are always super busy for me.
Okay.
So I've been kind of slow with it, and then February is really when I'm going to get rolling with things, because I'll have a lot more time in my schedule once I cut down on my work hours. So, I just want to bring tons of value. Like, I really would love to put out some sort of resource this year that helps women that kind of starts to close the gap between women and their healthcare professionals. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that looks like yet. But right now just kind of trying to reach out to all the women that need this service.
There's plenty.
Yeah, there's so many. And I chose Instagram because that's where I noticed the communities are, where they hang out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so.
Cool.
And then professionals. Right now I'm kind of doing it through networking. So kind of trying to figure out just like meeting people and kind of starting to understand there, and I don't know what platforms I'll utilize for that.
Well, it's always changing. Yeah,
it'll depend, but right now it's kind of like that part's grassroots right now in a sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't really have anything else to ask.
Yeah.
Is there any misconceptions that people might have about the brand of the business before they get to know you, or?
I don't know. I haven't really fallen into any, or no, I haven't really had any negative experiences. But I will say that a lot of people have misconceptions with online businesses and or like lifestyle like entrepreneurs as like that it's so easy to do, which it's not.
Yeah.
And that it's like that you can't be successful in it too, which you can. It just, you need to be very strategic on how you need to understand your business model, you know, because what they see is the fluff or like the pretty stuff, right? Or they see like the outside, but there's a lot of work that goes into a business behind the scenes of just like a social media feed, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
So that's like the biggest misconception that I've seen. And we basically covered all the ones on Doterra and network marketing.
Okay. No, great.
Yeah.
That's all I had. Well, thanks for doing this. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for asking me all the questions.
It was very insightful. No, I really had no idea. I learned a lot about, essential oils and marketing in general and business and stuff. So, I hope people do as well. Where would you like people to find you? Or how can people find you?
So it's super easy. They can go to my website. So it's Veronica Sek, SEK.com.
Okay.
And they can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
And the brand is called withherroots.
Okay.
But if you go to my website, you'll find it all: the podcast, the social media links, everything. So that's an easy place to find me and connect with me.
Great.
Yeah.
I love.
And I'm really looking to grow. So if anyone wants to collaborate, talk, or anything like.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Open a calendar. Okay. Awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you, Veronica.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Victor.